I would say that the back row attack in the 80s, that was the thing that was introduced. The sets got faster and the players got bigger. It was more the physicality of the players, you know. Volleyball became more accepted as an international sport, worthy of great athletes playing it.
The sophomore year was special because that was the first time I was really playing as a full-time starter, and that was the first time we won states in a while, so it was a very special year. We had a really good player too, that really helps. My classmate Matt Rigg, who ended up, I think he was like MVP of the state for his sophomore, junior, senior year, and All-American, and very heralded player. Nobody could really stop him. Coaching-wise, we were well coached and well prepared. Our team was a good, cohesive team, and we had a real stick on our team. So it was a bunch of things.
We had Doug Rigg. He was, if not the best setter ever to come out of Punahou, he's one of the top 2 or 3, and he probably was, in my opinion, one of the top 2 or 3, 4, 5 ever to play the game in the United States.
As a sophomore, winning a state championship in volleyball was, well, for me, kind of being the last of the 4 boys to be coming through Punahou, and all of my brothers had preceded me. It was a proud moment, obviously. I mean, I think anytime you win a state championship, it's a proud moment. But I finally felt like I had kind of accomplished, one of the first steps of what I kind of wanted to do and some of my goals.
The players that jump out right away would be somebody like Trevor Sherman, who was maybe the best, still known as the best blocker in UCLA history, which says a lot. His records are still intact there.
Trevor Sherman was one of the guys who, when I was younger, I would watch play, and he was just this big stud, and he was larger than life. He went on to UCLA and All-American, won every award that you could win, and then he came back when we were in high school. Came and talked to the team, sat down, said, kind of shared his experiences, shared what it was like to be at UCLA, and I think that was one of the reasons why I kind of went that way and played at UCLA.
McInerney's, Sherman's, Foster's. There were some big dogs during that time. That was when they had a couple of really good teams.
Our strength seriously was that whoever you put on the court, we could play together. And that was more important than anything else to us. So regardless of if you're first string or second string, made for a better team, made for a better experience for all of us.
I enjoyed SIO as a player. He was super motivated, super intense, super athletic. I mean, just physically was amazing on the court. I mean, jumped out of the gym.
It was Trevor and junior SIO SAIPAIA and Hugh Foster and Rob Klein and Bill Luce. I mean, everybody was 6'5" or more and was huge and very intimidating. And really, a lot of those matches that we played were over before they even started, and not because they were so physically superior volleyball-wise, was the warm-ups were so intimidating for guys because it sounded like bombs were going up. I mean, they hit with such power that every time the ball hit the ground, it was startling. And teams, as they were warming up, they had a hard time concentrating in their warm-up because they'd be looking over, with bug eyes and being kind of wowed by it, and that part was pretty intimidating.
For us, me coming from Waimea, a small school, we needed to work hard in the gym, in order to compete with them. And height was a big plus for them. I probably was the tallest player, maybe at about 5'11" in high school, and we were going up against 6'4", 6'5", guys like Trevor Sherman and SIO SAIPAIA. But to get to play against them, I played against Punahou my junior year for the state title, and we couldn't compete. We just tried our best, but they were just too powerful. That might have been the best Punahou team ever, I think.
I think any program that reaches the heights that we have, it's all based on what's come before. So you can't get to the top without starting from the bottom. So regardless of where I put us, everyone's going to have an attitude about that or some kind of interesting take on it. But I know that we're important because every year, every new player and great player that I meet tells me that they're better than us. And if we're the measuring stick, then I have nothing to worry about. I have nothing to worry about.
It used to be that we were the only one running the club, or we were the only ones that trained the off-season. All of a sudden, everybody's training the off-season. The other schools, like Kamehameha, Iolani, HBA, and all the Big Island schools, just got better and better. Competition became fierce. It was much more difficult to win when these other kids were getting the 6 months of off-season practice.
All of a sudden, I noticed that there were some really good kids on the other side of the net. I think that the physical part of the game really kind of leveled it out. In other words, the Punahou program was, the ball control and the fundamentals and the skills, and then all of a sudden it kind of kicked up into this physical zone.
Luckily, we had guys, like Scott Wong and Steinmetzger and Mike Lambert and these just incredible players that came through and carried us through that time with pretty much unblemished. I think we might have lost a couple times, but it was much more difficult to win, much more difficult.
Our loss in my junior year really got us to take a look at the little things that we could be doing more of. And it's not to say that we didn't work very, very hard that year. Certainly we did. We had the best player in the nation in Mike Lambert. It just was a team on a certain night, it just got really, really hot. And that was the year that we broke the string of 11 straight state titles by Punahou teams. We lost to Kamehameha in the state final up in Hilo. And I can just vividly remember just our entire team feeling this responsibility of upholding this Punahou tradition of winning the state championship and being the first team in 11 years to let it down.
I remember standing in front of the team outside the Civic. There were some tears, and I forget exactly what I said. I think I took a big chunk of the responsibility. Even Lambert wrote me a card saying how he looked back on that and drew strength from that in his journey in college and to a national championship. And I think that I too, in the success that I had after that played a huge part in it. It really did.
I think Scott certainly was one of the people to really teach me how to compete. He was one of the most just intense competitors I had ever met. The kind of competitor that just competes on every single play and every single practice and every single match. That's really been the mindset that I've really tried to adapt to and incorporate, because I really like that style of play.
Going through my head coaching position at Punahou with Scott Wong as a player, that really helped out. He's a solid player, he's a big guy, and I think he's a big reason why we're winning.
When you're a player at Punahou, you're getting mentored the whole time. You're learning the system, you're learning the skills, what it takes to be a great player. I remember the first time I wore a Punahou jersey, I kind of had goosebumps just because I've thought of all these other players before me that wore that same jersey.
I was just in the gym the other day and I walked in for May Day or something, and it's dawning on me now each time I walk in there, I think about a situation. I look at the lines on the court and I go, wow, you groveled a lot in here. I was in some great matches in here as a coach and as a player, but more as a coach.
It was always a focus on team, always a focus on how to get better as a team, not the results, but the kind of the process, setting goals for that process. And there are a lot of lessons to be learned in volleyball and about life during that whole process.